Being woke is like a magic moral time machine where you judge everybody against what you imagine you would have done in 1066, and you always win.
Woke culture seems to be rewriting the rules of reality, where facts take a backseat to feelings, and Bill Maher, he's having none of it. From calling out the absurdities to exposing the dangers of this new moral high ground, Maher's critiques are sharp, funny, and brutally honest. If you've ever found yourself shaking your head at the latest cultural outrage, you're in good company. Get ready for Maher's best takedowns of how woke culture has taken us off the rails. But before we jump into this insanity, hit that subscribe button. It won't cancel you for laughing at something controversial. And hey, if Bill Maher's takedowns are your thing, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. Maher starts by pointing out the absurdity of modern woke culture.
And the capacity for cruelty is a human thing, not a white thing. That's the truth, even though it doesn't jibe with the current narrative. But in today's world, when truth conflicts with narrative, it's the truth that has to apologize. Being woke is like a magic moral time machine where you judge everybody against what you imagine you would have done in 1066, and you always win.
He's right. The woke crowd loves to imagine they'd have been heroes in the past, judging everyone from 1066 with today's standards. Maher is not buying it. It's easy to rewrite history from your couch, but would these same people have stood up to injustice back then? Probably not. It's all fantasy. He doesn't stop there.
With communism and with some very recent ideologies here at home is that they think you can change reality by screaming at it, that you can bend human nature by holding your breath. But that's the difference between reality and your mommy.
Sound familiar? Today's woke culture is a tantrum disguised as activism. You can scream all you want, but you can't rewrite human nature. Maher calls it out perfectly. Reality is stubborn, and unlike your mom, it's not going to bend just because you're throwing a fit. Maher has another thing to say about today's political climate.
It's not me who's changed. It's the left, who is now made up of a small contingent who've gone mental and a large contingent who refuse to call them out for it. But I will. That's why I'm a hero at Fox these days.
According to him, the left has gone from the party of FDR and JFK to a group that's gone completely off the rails. And now, he's a hero at Fox News just for calling out the craziness. It's not that Maher's drifted right, it's that the left has drifted into the twilight zone. Bill draws an eerie parallel between the woke revolution and Mao's cultural revolution.
Can't believe I wore that. Can't believe I thought that. I can't believe I did that. You ate dirt. You wanted to be a Ghostbuster. You shoplifted gum. You tried to be a white breakdancer. You wanted to marry Scott Baio. I read Ayn Rand. I smoked. I was into numerology. Yes, because we hadn't then grown into the persons we would become. And humanity writ large is just the collective version of that. Did Columbus commit atrocities? Of course. But people back then were generally atrocious. Everybody who could afford one had a slave, including people of color. The way people talk about slavery these days, you'd think it was a uniquely American thing that we invented in 1619. But slavery throughout history has been the rule, not the exception.
In Mao's China, people who resisted were shamed, attacked, and in some cases even killed. Today's version might not involve physical violence, but the public shaming, the cancel culture mobs. Maher's point is clear. Our version of the Red Guard is alive and well, and if you don't conform, you're next. Next up, Maher takes aim at woke politics.
It's not my fault that the party of FDR and JFK is turning into the party of LOL and WTF. Members of Congress tweeting things like cancel rent, cancel mortgage, and no more policing or incarceration, declaring that capitalism is slavery, canceling Lincoln and Dr. Seuss, teaching children they're oppressors and math is racist, making Mr. Potato Head gender neutral, and now an emoji for pregnant men. Real, I'm not making it up. California just passed a law requiring large retailers to have a non-gendered toy section. A non-gendered toy section? Isn't Ken enough?
He's baffled at how Congress members, especially Democrats, are tweeting about things like canceling rent, calling capitalism slavery, and making Mr. Potato Head gender neutral. When politicians are more concerned with toy sex and emojis for pregnant men than real issues, you know something's gone wrong. And Maher is the only one brave enough to say it out loud. Maher also has strong words for the younger generation.
I think the younger generations have a real problem with wanting to build their identity around being a victim. They want to have racism to fight, not fight racism. Have racism to fight. So badly that when it's not there, they make it up. And there's enough real racism in the world that making up more doesn't help.
He argues that, instead of fighting real racism, they're creating it when it doesn't exist. It's like showing up to a party with drama just to make sure you're the center of attention. There's enough real injustice in the world without inventing more. And Maher isn't letting them off the hook for it. He has some words for children's transitions.
And never forget, children are impressionable and very, very stupid. Kids don't know why mom drinks every day or why dad has 2 cell phones. Maybe the boy who thinks he's a girl is just gay. Or whatever Frasier was. Maybe the girl who hates girly stuff just needs to learn that being female doesn't mean you have to act like a Kardashian. Maybe childhood makes you sad sometimes, and there are other solutions besides hand me the dick saw. And look, I'm sure the vast majority of parents do not take this lightly. And that is very hard to know when something is real or just a phase. And I understand being trans is different. It's innate. But kids do also have phases. They're kids. It's all phases. The dinosaur phase, the Hello Kitty phase. One day they want to be an astronaut. The next day you can't get them to leave their room. Gender fluid. Kids are fluid about everything. If kids knew what they wanted to be at age 8, the world would be filled with cowboys and princesses. I wanted to be a pirate. Thank God nobody took me seriously and scheduled me for eye removal and peg leg surgery.
Children are constantly exploring who they are, going through phases that don't necessarily define them for life. The key message here is caution. Adults shouldn't rush into permanent decisions based on what might be a temporary feeling. Childhood is a time for growth and discovery, not for making irreversible choices too soon. Maher dives right into the controversy surrounding body positivity, arguing that fat shaming might actually serve a purpose.
We have gone to this weird place where fat is good. It's pointing out that fat is unhealthy. That's what's bad. Fat shame? No, we fit shame. Really, you hear it all the time. Someone sees a merely trim person. You should eat something. No, you should not eat something. I should be more unhealthy so you can feel better about your fat ass? In August, 53 Americans died from mass shootings. Terrible, right? You know how many died from obesity? 40,000. Fat shaming doesn't need to end. It needs to make a comeback.
This isn't about cruelty, but about using shame to inspire change. With 40,000 people dying from obesity-related causes each month, Maher argues it's time to rethink some shame, like that which encourages healthier choices. It can be beneficial. He's not advocating bullying, but pushing for a cultural shift away from celebrating unhealthy lifestyles. Promoting healthier habits is far more compassionate than ignoring a deadly crisis.
I've said this recently on some show. I really think the people who will not talk about this in the media, you have blood on your hands because you are not helping people by normalizing something that is, factually the number one killer in America. It was before COVID. It was killing people slowly. And with COVID, of course, it killed them quickly. We know these are facts. 78% of the people who were hospitalized or died from COVID were obese. I mean, I don't know why this is such a controversial subject. Obviously, I understand people don't want to be confronted with their failures. I don't. I have many failures. I said in that piece that James Gordon was attacking that there was a time in my life when I drank too much, and I understood that. And people said to me sometimes, maybe you should go a little less heavy on the drinking. And I would say to them, yeah, you know what? You're right. I should. And then, of course, I wouldn't. But I didn't say, how dare you drunk shame me?
Right.
James Corden publicly criticized Maher for his blunt stance on obesity, but Maher isn't backing down. He argues that the real issue is being ignored. 78% of people hospitalized or killed by COVID were obese. This isn't just about body image, it's life and death. Maher shares his own experience with overdrinking, noting he didn't shout, "Stop drink shaming me," when people showed concern. The problem, he says, is we're so afraid of hurting feelings that we stop telling the truth. This links directly to another point Maher makes. While beauty may be subjective, health is not.
And fat, be beautiful, that's in the eye of the beholder. But healthy? No, that's science. I know this is a controversial thing to say now in today's America, but being fat is a bad thing. We shouldn't taunt people about it, and overeating shouldn't be singled out as the only vice. It's not. We all have something. But there's no smoking acceptance or drunk acceptance. When I drank too much, sometimes someone would say to me, that's not great for your health, Bill. Maybe you should slow down a little. You went kind of hard last night. And I would say, yeah, I know, I'm going to start next week. And then, of course, I wouldn't. But I didn't say, how dare you drink shame me? Being blotto is beautiful. Of course I didn't say that. I was focusing on the road.
While we openly criticize smoking or excessive drinking, overeating is often excused under the guise of body positivity. His point isn't to attack personal choices, but to call out the selective blindness when it comes to the health risks of obesity. The issue isn't about embracing diverse body types, but about being honest about the real dangers without sugarcoating them in feel-good rhetoric. Finally, he takes a look at how the narrative has been completely flipped. What started as fat acceptance has now morphed into fat celebration, and Maher sees it as dangerously Orwellian.
There's a disturbing trend going on in America these days, rewriting science to fit ideology or just to fit what you want reality to be. We've gone from fat acceptance to fat celebration. That's new. That is new. To view letting yourself go as a point of pride? We used to at least try and be fit and healthy, and society praised those who succeeded. Now the term body positivity is used to mean I'm perfect the way I am because I'm me. It's Orwellian how often positivity is used to describe what's not healthy. Of course you can get away with anything bad for you when you're young, but let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a fat 90-year-old?
We've gone from promoting fitness and health to embracing an unhealthy norm, all in the name of body positivity. Sure, people should feel good about themselves, but ignoring the clear health risks tied to obesity is rewriting reality to fit an ideology. When society starts praising behaviors that shorten lifespans, something's gone seriously wrong. Maher's takedown of woke culture isn't just about calling out the absurdities, it's about shining a light on the real dangers behind it. He's not afraid to speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And that's exactly why we need him. So, if you want more of these brutally honest takes, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. Trust me, this isn't the last time Bill Maher is going to roast the woke world, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.